In this video clip we're going to do the Comparadun. This isn't a fly I use greatly anymore. I tend to use the fly we're going to do next, the Spandun, because I find it easier to tie and slimmer. But this is a classic pattern and has that great advantage as a guide fly, being extremely inexpensive. Doesn't require any genetic hackle, which can sometimes be difficult to get hold of. And it's a great imitation of many up-winged dry flies, mayfly patterns. The wing on these flies is tied with coastal deer hair, ideally, because it's a bit finer, but any reasonably fine deer hair will do. It doesn't have to say coastal deer hair on the packet. And I'm going to use bleached for this particular fly, but you can again use any colour. And it's easily available in greys, blacks, to imitate a lot of different mayfly patterns. So having cut our bunch of hair, taking out the fluff under fur, we're going to stack it in hair stacker to even up the tips. In tying this fly, you want to take the hair out of the stacker with the points facing towards the eye of the hook. It will save you having to turn it around again in your hands. Make one loose wrap of thread over the hair. Check that you've got the right length that you want for the wing. Make another wrap, pull tight. Make another wrap, pull tight. Make another wrap, pull tight. It's absolutely critical that you use reasonably strong thread. This is 140 denier thread here, because otherwise you won't have sufficient torque to pull the hair into place without breaking the thread. And once you've done that, we're going to trim the remainder off. So now we're going to trim the tag ends of that hair at an angle. And this is the one disadvantage with this fly, is it tends to then give you a more bulky body than you might want. With the butt of the hair trimmed, we're going to now tie it down tight, and you need to just be very careful that it doesn't spin around the hook at this point. So you can go to and fro a few times with the thread. To tie that down nice and firmly. Don't worry about the fact the wing's pointing forwards, we'll sort that out towards the end. And now we're going to take the thread down to almost the bend of the hook and tie in some tails. And the Comparadun again can be tied with any number of different kind of tails. You can tie it with feather fibre, hackle fibre like I'm here. You can tie it with microfibbets. You can tie it with antron yarn to imitate the shucks of hatching mayfly mergers. Whole lot of variety. It's again a generic system of tying a fly more than a specific pattern. We're going to make a dubbed body on this one, so we're going to tie in a small amount of light grey superfine dry fly dubbing. Try to keep it minimal because the body's already going to be a bit fat because of the way the fly is tied in. Just going to cover up those. There we go, cover up the thread that we're showing there at the back. And take this, whoop, that's a bit loose. Take the dubbing right up to the back of the hair wing like that. And now we're going to push this wing back, stand it up, dig your thumbnails into it if you have to, Make sure that dubbing is nice and tight behind the wing. Pull the wing back and build a ball in front of it. And now you can do a number of things. You can whip finish it as normal, but I've actually taken again to using super glue for this whip finish. I find it easier to get in there. And then what I do is I'll whip finish or super glue whip finish behind that ball of dubbing that forms the head, which helps force the wing upright even more, like that, and trim off the excess thread. Now all is left to do is to trim off any fibres that are sticking out the bottom of the fly. There are a couple, not too many. And there you have a very simple Comparadun. Probably the most difficult thing when you start off tying this fly is to get the amount, the bulk of the wing correct. Because the fibres are tapered, as you tie smaller and smaller Comparaduns, the wing gets shorter and shorter, and as a result you're dealing with thinner and thinner fibres. So actually you'll find that the amount of wing material you need doesn't vary that much as you go down in size of the fly. It's just a question of practice to get an eyeball idea of how much you need. If you make it too sparse, it doesn't look nice. If you make it too thick, it looks very dumpy. But of course, at the same time, you can make it thicker for fast water and much finer for flat water. So it's a very flexible pattern. But again, this has to be one of the very best guide dry flies on the planet. You can vary it to imitate almost any upwing dry fly. I think it makes a particularly good sort of cripple emerger type pattern as well. And very often the fish will accept this when they won't accept a more standard hackle dry fly.